Hi everyone, I'm Catherine, the artist behind Bigelow Fine Arts. How is your coloring going? Did you finish yesterday's crest? Let me know below how it went and if the simple palette worked out for you. Today I'm starting the American Burying Beetles in Fragile World by Kirby Rosanes. I have my pencils picked out. Join me and let's color this in together. I have the entire palette listed on the side for this page. I will be moving around a bit as I work up areas by color and not just sticking to things of the same type. I'm beginning with the downed branch here, starting with the dark sepia to block in my shadows. The nice thing with Kirby's artwork is that it really is a complete work. The shading is put in already and isn't left to guess at. So with my rapidly dwindling sepia, I'm going to go through and put in a layer in all the areas already marked off for shading. There are also areas that will need shading that aren't explicitly noted, but that I am assuming will need shading, like the underside of the branch. Now that I have the shadows blocked in, I'm going to come in with the ivory and cover the entire branch. My thinking here is that I want this branch to look old and weathered. By putting in a layer of ivory, I am trying to protect the whiteness a little more than if I just go in with a darker color first. This is my thinking, but that doesn't mean it will work out that way. I had to move my clip over to get at the full branch, so I came back in with the sepia to get at the part that was covered. I normally keep a piece of paper under the clip to spread out the weight, but this time I didn't. I was checking to see if the rubber on the clip had enough cushioning to prevent crushing the paper in that spot, and I discovered it wasn't enough. Sadly, it did crush the paper a little and affected the way the color lays down in those spots. It's fine, and now I know. Now I have the ivory and sepia in place, I want to begin adding color to the branch. I have basically added in the undercoat. With the brown ochre, I am putting a light layer over the entire branch, and I am keeping it light in the light areas and a little darker in the shadowed areas. I want to build up the color in layers gently until I get what I want, as I am not sure what will work best. I am adding in a layer of warm gray 3, again covering everything. The sepia is doing the work of being the shadow and will show through whatever I put on top. The warm gray will keep the rest of the branch light in color while adding more layers to fill in the paper. I can still come in with more color on top to get this branch where I want it. Now that I have some color down, I can see that my shadows can go darker. I'm coming back in with the sepia and making them darker. I can also focus a little more on the shadows and how the art is drawn. The light source seems to be coming from the upper left. I can tell this from the position of the shadows for the blades of grass. So I can make the shadows darker along the bottom edge, and if there is a line with shadow to the right, I can make the shadow darker to the left and feather out to the right. These are things I can look for now as I go through for my second shadow pass. I am not touching up yet, I am simply trying to get everything in place. I am still, for the most part, keeping my sepia to the areas noted as shadowed areas. I have not begun to expand the shadows to cover the underside of the branch, for example. I'm going to be coming in again with the ivory and add in another layer over the entire branch. Now I feel like I have the branch partially blocked in and I want to get more color on the page so I can see how much darker I can go with all of my colors. For me, this is a stepwise process. Color up one thing, then move on to another and find that the first can be touched up more, which then means everything needs to be touched up again, all to match. I'm going to leave the branch for now and begin working on the blades of grass. I am beginning with the pine green, blocking in the shadow under this bent blade. I add in a layer of permanent green underneath to blend it out around the edges. I further blend it out with the earth green yellowish and fill in the rest of the blade tip with the green yellowish. I add in some green yellowish along the top, then blend it out with more permanent green. To bring up the contrast with the shadow more, I use the sepia under the blade to darken it up even more, and that is one blade of grass blocked in. I'm going to go through and work up the remaining blades of grass the same way. I go through with the sepia and the pine green and block in all the shadows where I think the shadows would be. Now that I have the shadows blocked in, I want to go through and fill in all the blades with the green yellowish. Once I have them all blocked in, I can now go through with the permanent green and begin adding definition to the blades and working the shadows into the light. Every blade is unique, and I have to look at each one to determine what will work best for each blade. I add another layer of the green yellowish over the entire blade to make the color even richer. I will work up a final touch-up with the permanent green. Fragile World is a unique book from Kirby Rosanes that highlights endangered species. While some of the art features Kirby's unique style, others, like the American Burying Beetle, are still well drawn but don't seem to feature his unique style as much. And I am totally not disappointed at all in this. All the art in this book is really stunning. Since I feel that the main point of this book is to highlight endangered species, I wanted to pass that on here as well. The American Burying Beetle is a fascinating beetle in that it actually raises its young. It doesn't just find carrion and lay eggs. The beetle breaks down the carcass, buries it, and keeps an eye on its young as it feeds off the carcass. By breaking down the carcass, it also recycles the nutrients back into the ecosystem for future growth. The beetle used to live in 35 states and up into Canada, but until recently had dwindled down to one small population. It is slowly recovering. I'm stopping here for today. I'll be back again tomorrow with more. I hope you are coloring along with me. I'm looking forward to getting to the beetles. If you've been following along, please let me know below. I'd love to hear how your coloring is coming along. I'm on MeWe and would love to build a coloring community there for everyone to share art, talk art, and discuss supplies. I have my social media links below. Find me on Twitter, Instagram, MeWe, and Patreon. Patreon has a short write-up as well as all my palettes I'm using and a list of the timestamps. It's available for everyone. If you have any questions or page requests, please leave them below or reach out to me on social media. I put in a list of chapter breaks in the show notes as well as a list of equipment I like to use. If you use any of my affiliate links, it really helps me out without costing you a thing. I want to thank you all so much for coming along and joining in with me on this coloring journey. I appreciate all my subscribers and look forward to more of you joining in and coloring along with me. Please like, share, and subscribe to help that happen. Until next time, happy coloring!